The US will be showing signs of weakening. There may be a disaster in South America, as well as updates on Israel and Ukraine and the integrating of higher frequencies onto Earth. And those are the subjects I will be covering in today's psychic prediction for December 2023. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. I always appreciate that. And don't forget to subscribe for monthly predictions every month. Today is currently November 30th, and what I was seeing coming up here for December will be not so great of a month for Joe Biden, is what I was getting. I was seeing Joe Biden as the first thing that popped up when I was asking about what I should communicate about December for 2023. And I was seeing him wanting to help some other country or some situation going on that he's not able to help. And that may be somewhat more self-interest rather than him wanting to necessarily help, but regardless, there's something that he wanted to do that he was not able to do. And he doesn't like what he sees. I was also getting a vision of warships being sent out for protection, but not engaging in direct combat. But there may be more ships being sent out overseas from the US. I was getting the sense that Iran may be more powerful than expected, and I know I said this in the past, and that has seemed to be the case so far, but I was getting that again for December coming up here, that is going to be even more so, again, more powerful than expected. It also does not look like December is a good month for Israel and the Western nations that back Israel in particular. I was also getting the sense that Joe Biden is wanting money for something, and there's a sense of desperation as if he may need money for funding, but I'm not sure what that was. I just got that sense. So it's possible that he's trying to fund something, but I'm not sure what he's funding. But regardless, I talk a little bit more about what's going on with Joe Biden on my Patreon page. So the next thing that I was seeing, and this seems to be a big deal, what's going on around the world. When I was asking about that, what I was drawn to was an image of a bunch of little fires that make a circle, and it was as if it was like a ring of fire. And then I was seeing this superimposed over South America. And when I tuned more into this, I was getting the sense that there could be water, like tsunamis, associated with this, specifically around Argentina and the lower half of South America. And there may be some flooding, is what I was getting around that area for December. So I wasn't entirely sure what this ring of fire represented, but when I was tuning into it, I was seeing Joe Biden's energy in it, and it seems to have a collective energy of geopolitical issues contained within it. I don't feel that this is playing out directly as a direct economic action, but more of a reaction to an economic situation, if that makes any sense. So it's not like a direct action is being taken through the economy, but it may have an effect on the economy, is what I was getting. And when I was continuing to ask more about this, the notion that came to me was that Joe Biden wants to crush his enemies. and this may have to do with some of the geopolitical elements involved in this. So, this is where it gets really interesting, because a little while ago, I remember seeing some video about Haiti, how do you say it? Haiti, sorry, and Haiti, and this being posted by a different psychic named Raven Scry, and I went back to look at that because I realized that was in the same geographical kind of area around South America as what I was seeing, and I was actually kind of shocked to find Raven Scry said specifically a ring of fire, and that kind of blew my mind a little bit. So I believe that this is the same thing that we're both seeing. And then it gets even more interesting because I didn't know what a ring of fire was. I had heard the term from like songs, and I had no idea what it actually meant until I looked it up. And I found that the ring of fire is a string of volcanoes and sites of seismic activity or earthquakes around the edge of the Pacific Ocean. So that's very interesting. Now, also, I was listening to, and again, I'll leave the in the description, I'll leave a link to the video by Raven Scry where she talks about the Ring of Fire. Also, I also listened to a video from a different psychic named Nancy Rebecca, who was saying that there may be some major event that takes place around the 14th or the 15th of December, where she said, in more of a metaphorical sense, the earth splits in half. And I will also leave a link to that video if you're interested in that. But this all seems to correlate. Now, also going back to September 26th, before Hamas invaded Israel, before that, well, it's been going on for decades now, but since it flared up and became a big issue just recently, before that happened, I predicted that many deaths will be following the 3 months after September. So that's October, where all that stuff happened. November, where there's the fallout. It's still November, and next month will be December, which will be 3 months from the time that I said that. So maybe what's going on here in South America is also part of this situation leading into December. So I wasn't getting the sense that there's going to be an increase in deaths from one specific event either. And I did say that back then. So this may be part of that. And you can go back and watch those videos if you want to understand more about that. So moving on. In the next 3 months from now, being November 30th, Russia, what I'm seeing for Russia is Russia making advancements in Ukraine, but these advancements kind of go back around March, and Russia may back off a little bit. Overall, I see Russia growing power, and as I've said since before they even went into Ukraine, that I do see Ukraine not really standing much chance against them in the borders changing. But regardless, Putin, and this is new information to me, Putin looks shocked about some sort of personal setback sometime around March 2024. And I know this is a video about December 2023, but regardless, that was just showing up when I was tuning into that situation. He seems very present in politics up until that moment in March 2024 where I see him symbolically, maybe literally, maybe symbolically, packing his bags and going into hiding. So I don't know exactly what that means, but that's what was coming through for me. And you can make of that what you will. Okay. So World War III, is that a thing? And when I was asking about the economic situation and the global political situation, I was getting the sense that I don't see Joe Biden wanting to jump into that, and he just kept popping up for me every time I looked into or asked about December. It's just he just was there. Um, I don't see him wanting to jump into some sort of conflict, and it seems like there are a lot of threats coming from the U.S. that are there to, control the situation. But I'm getting the sense that those are more bluffs than they are real threats that they're going to really do something about. Like, they may put ships along the borders as a threat, but they're not actually going to fire and basically start World War III. So Iran and other countries will continue to do what they're doing without serious consequences through September. December. Because next month is December. Moving into December and beyond. I do sense a lot of fear and tension, but no major world events beyond what we've already seen. And by that, there can be some more events taking place, but it's not going to be in magnitude more massive than what we have already experienced with the escalation of the situation. In the long term, I see this weakening the U.S. as a result, and I was also seeing a possibility of explosions around Libya or Egypt within the month of December that could be related to this conflict. And as far as I understand, there's no fighting in those areas yet, but there could be for the month of December, is what I was getting. The next vision I was seeing was I was seeing an eagle representing the U.S. As a bird flying to Africa and like harvesting resources like minerals, and this seemed kind of almost as if it was a predatory bird finding its prey. So it seemed like there was some sort of way that the U.S. may be getting resources from the continent of Africa in a way that's kind of like stealing them or taking them, however you want to look at that. So, moving on to Bitcoin. I get the sense that Bitcoin is going to be relatively flat for the most part in December. Nothing too major, but there does seem to be a spike down that can quickly recover. One of those spikes seems to be around the 8th of December, and the other one seems to be around the 19th. These are approximations and are not expected to be those specific days. And of course, this is not guaranteed to happen, these are just possibilities. So that's more the political and global predictions, but let's now focus more on the energy, especially what you may be experiencing as an individual. So, energetically speaking, this is a very heavy month. That's what I was getting. December, moving into December. And people will be feeling the burden of the world as if the weight of the world is on their shoulders, and there's going to be a lot of anxiety that people are feeling, which I think people may already be feeling that a little bit, but into December it's going to be magnified. So the reason for this is because people are starting to focus on the bigger picture. People are starting to see the bigger picture of what's going on in the world. I was seeing this as a vision of a grid and it was like lines going across different directions. And with that vision, I was getting the knowing of that kind of just representing the interconnectedness of everything and how everything just kind of operates as a whole. And people becoming aware of how they are just a little spot on that grid. This is because of what's going on energetically with the consciousness of people on Earth, and you could say the consciousness or the energy of the Earth itself. Everything is shifting, and I've been talking about this for the last like 3, maybe 4 months now, so you can go back and watch those previous videos if you're interested in hearing more about the shift in energy that is actually very dramatic. Um, but anyways, and this will shape the history and the future of humanity. But what's going on for December is that we are starting to notice where we stand more within the larger network and kind of where our part is within that. And we're moving away from having such a limited perspective. Like before, people may have kind of seen things from their opinion, whereas now you're starting to realize that's just been your opinion, and you're starting to connect more. I've been saying this for a long time that we're moving into a direction of more cooperation within society and cultural values, and this is actually happening to our consciousness right now, where we are consciously becoming more aware of what we may really look like outside of our own perceptions of ourselves. So we are integrating new ideas as well in this month of December. So last month, or I mean, sorry, October. No, sorry, that was last month. November. October was where I started talking more and more about it. But last month, November, we were seeded with new energy. And that's what I was seeing for. Sorry, it is November still, but it will be December soon. But regardless, November, we were seeded with new energy from spiritual beings, not of Earth. And this has the intention of increasing the frequency of the planet, which has already happened. And so now we are really needing to take a step back for us to integrate and do what we will with it. Also, the forces, the spiritual beings that have been assisting us with increasing the vibration of Earth by flooding it with energy of a higher vibration, they're kind of taking a step back now. And so it's up to us to integrate and to kind of take the next step. Like, they've shown us the path, but it's up to us to walk down the path. So they can't hold our hands and make us do everything, because then we're not doing it on our own accord and we're not really learning from the experience. So they're taking a step back, and it's up to us now to do what some may call shadow work or integration in order to fully live and manifest within this new energy, to put it simply. So that's a big deal, and I don't want to talk too much about that because I've already talked about that in my previous month predictions, so go back and watch those if you want to know more about that. So moving on to what is December going to be good for? And the first thing that came to me was actually a vision of someone smoking what looked like pipe tobacco and they were just pondering the universe, and it was kind of like a sensation that I was getting, which was that they were being stimulated, but it wasn't like if you drank too much coffee and you're overstimulated. It wasn't like that. It was just like a sense of being stimulated a little bit from what they were doing. And I also got the sense that this could be tea or herbal tea as well, but just something that people do, which is calming, comforting, and relaxing to them, but can also be a little stimulating to the mind in a way to kind of overcome possible depression and things of that nature. But really, the point of it is to ponder the universe. And basically, this is a good month for that, is what that leads to. But also being comfortable and doing things that bring you comfort so that you can ponder the universe from a proper state of mind. The other thing that this month is good for is working together. And I could also add helping others, but it's more so just working with other people. And I've heard this echoed from someone else too. When I watched the video from Nancy Rebecca, she said very similar things about getting out there socially, connecting with others. So working together with other people seems to be very beneficial energetically for the month. Now, sometimes these things sound kind of obvious, and it's like, well, yeah, of course, that would always be good for you. But here's an example where that's not the case. When I asked what is bad for the month of December, what's bad for the month of December energetically, not in every situation, but generally speaking, aspirations. And I saw someone pointing to like the top of a mountain as if they were aspiring to be that. They want to get to the top, they want to achieve success, and they want victory. These are actually not energies that are supported by the energy of what's going on in December. So instead, it would be better to take a step back and give yourself some time to integrate, because with all this new energy coming in and all this evolution on a spiritual level taking place, you need to integrate that into your consciousness and your 3D body for it to really take place and be grounded. So that leads me to the advice for the month, which is, actually, this was just words that came to me, and I didn't know what the meaning of it was as I was hearing the words until the words ended. But the words were, learn who you are, learn to be a good person, don't be a sheep. And that was the advice for December 2023, and this has been a psychic prediction video. If you would like to see more information that I don't post on YouTube, I do have a free week trial on Patreon, so you can join for free. And also, I do private readings. You can sign up for a reading, schedule one at psychictie.com. If you don't want to schedule a reading or have a one-on-one interaction, you can also have a written reading as well, where you can type a question and I will respond with 1 to 3 paragraphs or so. Besides for that, like this video and subscribe if you have not yet for future monthly psychic predictions for every month and other information that may be relevant to the general public. Thank you for watching and have a great day.